So now all the links are in place and all it needs is some tidying up. Although I totally agree that there is some work to do, and start to finish, the whole exercises might say take a whole day. But would you rather finish in a day and get traffic to your website or article, or finish in 1 hour and never get any traffic at all? I'd rather be straight up with you and agree that yes, there is work to do. I've never said there isn't. But some of the gurus, well, they tell us that you just buy a product, put it on a website and drive your brand new car out of the showroom next month. Well, no, I'm sorry. And although the web is our future and a ton of money really can be made using it as a tool, it doesn't happen overnight, but it can be done if you put the time and effort in. Well, as I mentioned, at the end of the last video, all that's left to do is just tidy up our keyword list. To keep this list simple, we are not going to add any extra keywords that may have come to light using the Wonder Wheel. We're just going to carry on with the one we created in video 4. Now we know we have 2 columns and our searches are all in order, but it's not just the searches that we need to take into account, is it? How I do this might be completely different as to how you will eventually do it, but what I do is as follows. Remember low competition and high searches. So if we take our first keyword, which has a brilliantly high search rate of 40,500, we also find that we have a very high competition rate of the same 40,500. So maybe this is not our best keyword after all. If on the other hand we take the keyword pay-per-click consultant, although our search results are 2,400, which is at the lower end of the scale level, we have a very high competition rate of 47,700. So the idea is to step back and work out which is the best order to put them in. Please, please, please think about this as you have taken all this time to learn about how to do in-depth keyword research. You've done an outstanding job of watching and listening to me explaining something which, before you started in video 1, I guess was completely alien to you. And now look at you. You know more than 97% of the population, and for those that run an internet marketing business, a percentage of those even don't even take the time to learn. But you have. So for this stage, think about what order you put them in. Then when you are convinced that it's as best as it should be, why not walk away from it and come back after 24 hours and review it again? You might possibly see something that you're not quite happy with after all, that seemed to be okay the day before. What I suggest we do is we separate our search results into 4 easy step-by-step categories. 1. The competition results are very similar to the searches. 2. We have groups of tens, i.e. 10s, 20, 30, 40 and so on. 3. We have single figures, ones that are kind of very near to one another, but like 22,000 to 23,000 to 24,000 and so on, and I'll cover that in just a moment. And number 4, once you've finished, reassess it after 24 hours. Actually leave it alone, go away, come back the next day, and you'll possibly find that you may need to tweak your results because you'll see bits and pieces that when you finished the day before, they weren't actually, or they were there, but you didn't quite see that, I needed to swap this around or that around. Okay, so here we are now back at our spreadsheet, and next to it we've got a nice blank one because we're going to transfer these keywords and results over onto the new sheet via the way that I just mentioned just now. The first being the competition results, being very similar. 2, split up in groups of tens. And 3, we have single figures. So let's do that now. Okay, and what we're going to do is we've split this up, as you can see, into different groups. The first one, do you remember, was results are very, very similar. That's these 2 top here that I've actually split up. They're both searches, both competition, are around about just over 40,000 each. So we need to move those over first of all. When we move them over, the reason why I picked these 2 is because we're going to keep these as in virtually the middle of our new spreadsheet. If it's very, very similar figures like this, that's where they go. So we're going to transfer these over exactly as they are. So we look at our competition. This is the lowest of the 2, so we'll keep that as number 1. So let's cut those out of there. and paste those about halfway down the sheet. Okay, come back over to here. Number 2, can you remember? Groups of tens. So we've got 2 groups of tens here. The reason why I've split them up is because these are 22s and these are within the tens. So let's do these 2 first. If we look at our results over here, can you see this bottom one is only 17,000 and that's 51,000. So if you worked out what we're going to do, we're going to cut that out of there, and that's going to be the first one that we're going to paste in onto our list. And if that's the case, I dare say you've worked out that this one is going to be the first one. Let's cut that out of there. Sorry, the second one. And let's paste that in directly below it. Can you see how when it's all broken up, it's much more pleasing to the eyes? If you don't break it up, you don't know where to start, and your eyes is just looking at a mass of figures and keywords, and it completely throws you and you don't know where you are. Okay, now we're going to come down to this group of 10 figures. There again, if we look at the 2 results here in competition, this is the lower one. So, let's take this out of here, cut it out, and put it below that one there. Come back over to here, and now cut this one out and paste that one just below there. Okay, and now all you do is you work your way all the way down. Let's look at these 2 now. Well, these are just below 10,000. This lot down here are like from 5,000. In other words, when I come to down to the last 10, I tend to split it up into a couple of areas. The first one being from 10,000 down to 5,000, which are these 2. And these 2 here, although they're all below 5,000, I've split these up into 2 only because these figures here, all of them, are 2,400. So let's deal with these 2 here. Okay, pretty much close to one another, these 2. But look at the difference here, nearly 6,000 between the 2. So let's take that bottom one once again. We cut that out of there and paste that, we're going underneath now, aren't we? Let's paste that into there. Let's go back over to this and pick this one up from here. Cut that one out and paste that directly below it. Can you see how quick you're doing this? We've got now 2 groups and we're going to deal with this first one. Because these are so kind of close to one another, what we're going to do is we're just going to pick the lowest competition results, which happens to be this first one here. Let's cut, I keep saying copy, don't I? Let's cut that out of there and paste that directly beneath it. Then we're going to go to this one here, 7,000, being the lower one of the 4. Cut that out from there. Paste that below it. And then we've got this one being the lower. Now I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to carry on with these 3. So it'll be this one, this one, this one. When we come down to this group, we're going to do exactly the same, purely because they're all at 2,400. We're going to start with the lower one, which is 5,000, 7,000, and make our way up. I'll see you in video 6.